distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today. Can I invite Steve McGuirk, DL, who's here to present the Queen's Award to the Society today. Welcome, Steve.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to come along this morning. So I'll just say a couple of brief words about the Queen's Award for those of you who are not altogether familiar with it. It's a really distinguished award, one not that over. And as the name suggests, it's for voluntary service. It's really important, actually. Her Majesty thinks this is tremendously significant. And its purpose is to make sure that the fantastic community organisations are recognised, and in a sense given the same status as industry, because there's a Queen's Award for Enterprise, Queen's Award for Industry. It's part of a family of awards. And in many respects, I might see this as perhaps even more significant, because of course people in the voluntary sector are not being paid. It's not part of a career structure. And in Greater Manchester, we started, I was just talking to Lady Smith over there about the early days of bringing this forward a few years ago. One of the things that I think we found in Manchester particularly was that we're very modest folk in the north. We don't like to kind of blow our own trumpets. And we were going along to various events, and whilst these were very distinguished organisations, important organisations, you kind of find yourself looking at local groups and thinking, well, actually, some of these groups are doing just the same, if not more, and adding enormous value to their local community. So we started to try and elevate the status, and we started to try and encourage groups to put in for awards. And that's been really successful. In fact, so much so that Greater Manchester, for the last about 4 or 5 years now, has had more Queen's Award for Voluntary Services awarded across the Greater Manchester Foundation than any other part of the country, including London, which is a tremendous achievement when you start to think about the size of the population. So I've been involved for the last 4 or 5 years. This is my patch is Wigan and Leigh, and I've seen some incredible organisations. It's been a real privilege. And I remember vividly when I was going out to meet the team here and to do the assessment, and I should add, it's a proper assessment. It's not just given to any organisation because it's a good organisation, it's worthy, and people are doing great things. There are huge numbers of organisations that you could say that about. Thank you. What's different? It's coming. What's different? You've got to understand what's different about this organisation. What marks them out as separate? What's the value that they're adding to the community? So the criteria is really quite tough, and it's a proper assessment. You don't just go along and have a cup of tea and say, oh, thank you very much, and do, was it that, are you being served young Mr. Grace to say you've all done very well, walk off and give the award? You then produce a very comprehensive assessment and a citation. And as part of your citation in the end, you really would recommend or not recommend groups to get the award or not to get the award. And it's really difficult when you go along, particularly to recommend that a group doesn't qualify for the award. But unless you do that on occasions, then you can demerit the award. It doesn't really get the significance, it won't keep the significance that it deserves. So I thought it'd be useful if I just read out my citation that I put for the Ornithological Society. As I say, I remember when I was kind of coming along and my wife said, well, where are you going today? And I said, I'm going to the Ornithological Society. She kind of looked at me puzzled and said, for Queen's Award for Voluntary Services, why are they doing that? I said, I don't quite know. I've kind of got some paperwork, but I'll go and find out. And it was tremendous. So I'll read the section. I think it says, it captures very well exactly why I thought the award was merited. So Leigh Ornithological Society is so much more than an ornithological society. It was formed in 1971, nearly 50 years ago, by a small group, and it originally came about not from a love of birds, but more related to environmental concerns at a time when it was not so fashionable as it is today. The people involved were bird watchers as individual hobbyists and enthusiasts, and the area where they undertook their hobby was around Pennington Flash. Is that all? The Flash was a small lake formed as a result of mines, colliery activity in the area and land subsidence as well. At the time, the Flash was in continuing use for disposing of colliery waste as well as domestic refuse, and this was of concern to the bird watchers. They decided to organise themselves into the society. as the vehicle to organise their lobbying and their influencing approach as much as a traditional ornithological society. And they've continued to occupy an important environmental and wildlife support lobbying role, as well as continuing to enjoy their hobby, and they form a key element of the effort to protect green space and green corridors in the Wigan and Leigh areas. Nowadays, they've got over 100 members, and including around 50 active volunteers. And they have incrementally taken over roles that were previously the domain of the local council. The Flash used to occupy 8 full-time rangers, but they have all now had to go as a consequence of austerity. So the Society's role includes habitat maintenance at the Flash, as well as litter picking and general maintenance of the area. They also advise on and are involved in planning applications, not just locally, but across Greater Manchester as well. They also have a programme of tree and hedge planting. They are increasingly involving younger people. They do school visits, and they have their own young birders group. They have a regularly updated website, and they are active users of social media. And finally, the leaders sit on a number of wildlife advisory groups, and in some cases, national advisory groups. All of this is professionally run on a wholly voluntary basis. And though very small amounts of out-of-pocket expenses are paid, the money to do so is raised by subscriptions and donations in a variety of ways, which is set out in their annual report and is transparent. This is an impressive group of volunteers. When I started my assessment, I was not expecting to encounter the breadth of activity that the Society undertakes. This is by no means a Twitchers group, though that of itself is a laudable activity or hobby. Rather, this Society is an important environmental and wildlife support group, and an important community group who happen to come together around a love of bird watching. So I think that summarises extremely well the incredibly well-deserved award, and it gives me great pleasure therefore to present the award today.